Hello, this is a video for, it's a project for my medicine making course. Today I'm going to be talking about 3 herbal preparations and specific blends that I've been really into recently. When I was deciding what blends and preparations I wanted to talk about today, I was thinking about, should I talk about blends that I've turned to a lot over the past few years? Should I talk about my go-tos? And after giving it some thought, I decided instead of doing that, I'm gonna present 3 blends that I'm just really into these days. So that I'm really passionate and motivated about at the moment. So I'm gonna start with a liniment. But before I tell you what's in the liniment, I'm going to tell you a story that starts 6 weeks ago. 6 weeks ago, I was on vacation and I was in the kitchen making some breakfast, and I was messing around with a kitchen chair at my Airbnb, and I accidentally dropped the kitchen chair on my foot and it really hurt. I had done this one time before in the past when I was in college, and I remember that because it took a really long time for my foot to heal. It just really bothered me for months and months and months. And I thought, okay, gosh darn it, this is going to be annoying for the next few months, but that's okay. It is what it is. My foot is still there. So around 6 weeks went by and it was still bothering me. It was numb, and when I would touch it, I would get shooting pains a little bit, like a numb shooting pain. And so it was clear to me that there was some nerve damage, and it was just very tender whenever I touched it. It didn't, after 6 weeks, it didn't hurt when I touched it necessarily, but it bothered me. It wasn't comfortable. When I touched my other foot, it was not the same at all. So after some time, I thought to myself, Sam, what are you doing? You're an herbalist. What advice would you give somebody else in this situation? So I decided that I was going to make a liniment for myself and rub it on my foot every day, ideally 3 times a day. And that's what I did. So I made a liniment, which for me is an oil mixed with a tincture, an alcohol tincture. So I blended St. John's wort infused oil with ginger and chamomile tincture. I wouldn't have necessarily put the chamomile in there, but I had tinctured the ginger and chamomile together, and that's what I had. But it's never a bad thing to have chamomile in a tincture in a blend. So I thought maybe it would have some vulnerary actions as well. So I made a 1-to-1 liniment, and I rubbed it on my foot every single day. And lo and behold, it is almost all better. It's amazing. I'm really excited about it. It healed right before my eyes. So what I did was I made this in a dropper top. It's not my favorite way to prepare a liniment because it's a little messy in a dropper top, but that is what I had. So what I did on my foot, I dropped a few drops of the liniment, and then I just rubbed it in, and I really tried to massage it in and massage between my toes and on my foot. I got my ankle as well. And I didn't just massage the area that hurt necessarily or that was affected by the injury, but I tried to get around it as well to really stimulate blood flow and nerve healing. And I've had more progress in the 4 to 5 days that I've been doing it than I have in the whole 6 weeks. So that is just really exciting. And that's why I wanted to share this blend with you, because it's something that I'm really amazed by and I'm really excited about. So I'm going to continue to do this. I don't know, maybe for another week or 2, and hopefully it feels all better after that. And yeah, I'm really excited. I also want to show you how I normally like to keep my liniments You can see this is almost empty because I like to use it so much. This is a muscle rub. It doesn't have the same blend, but I like this bottle because it's a spray bottle. So it sprays right on there, and then I rub it in and massage it into my muscles. I think that it's a little easier and cleaner. I find that when I use the dropper top, it always drips and ruins the labels. I actually just changed the label to make it look nice for the video, but before it was all smudged, you couldn't see it, and that typically happens with my liniments when I use a dropper top. I'm really excited because I noticed that my husband has this spray-on deodorant in this really nice glass spray bottle, and the spray top, it's more of a mister. So I am going to snag that when he runs out of deodorant and give that a try, because I think that's a nice little bottle. Great. So for my next preparation, I want to talk about a tea blend that I've been super excited about recently. And it's a Goodnight tea blend. So this tea blend is much simpler than my average or like my normal tea blends that I usually make. Usually I have all of my herbs in different boxes or bottles or storage containers, and I make the tea blend as I'm making the tea, whatever I feel like having at the moment, even if it happens to be a very similar blend every single day. And my tea blends typically have at least 4 herbs in it, maybe 4 to 6 herbs. But recently I have been trying to drink at least 1 quart a day of a single herb. So not blended, but just one herb. And I've been trying to do this just to get to know my herbs a little bit better on a more personal level. And it's been fantastic. I totally recommend it to everyone. It's really been a great experience. And that is what inspired me for my next tea blend that I'm going to share with you. So this is a Goodnight tea blend, and I used this bottle just because it's what I had near me. It is just 2 herbs blended together. It is Passionflower that is store-bought, cut and sifted, and then Hawthorn flower, which I foraged myself and dried myself. And it is just so wonderful. The uplifting, pleasant flavor of the Hawthorn flower has been really nice. And I wouldn't typically put this in a Goodnight blend, Hawthorn. I usually put it in the box of you drink this when you're sad or when you want to focus on heart health. But I've just been so inspired by and drawn to Hawthorn flower recently, and I just thought this would be lovely in a Goodnight blend. And I drank Passionflower the other night as a simple, and I just really liked the pleasant, somewhat nutty flavor of it. And so I drank that the first night, and then I decided to add my 3rd herb to the blend, which I'm really excited about. If I can open it, let's see. This is what happens when you put a liniment on. Your hands get a little sticky. All right, got it. So this is a lavender infused honey that I made a year ago. Now, this lavender infused honey is not like any infused honey I had ever made before. It's kind of, I don't want to say a mistake, but it's a happy accident. So I'm going to show you this. It looks like it's kind of bubbly at the top. I don't think it's molded. I really feel fine about this. I think it might even be fermenting a little bit, but I'll show this to you. It might not look super appetizing, but I'm telling you, it's like the best thing ever. So the reason why I feel like this honey is a happy accident is because at the end of last year, I cut the lavender flowers and I put it with my honey, and I kind of just let it sit there. And instead of it becoming more liquidy and viscous, because of it pulling out the fluid content in the lavender. Instead it became a little bit more crystallized and solidified. I feel like it's almost like a lavender crystallized honey or lavender sugar it's turned into. And so I really pulled it out the other night because for whatever reason I thought of it when I made this blend. I am not usually drawn to lavender or lavender honey, but I just thought, wow, this would be great. And wow, I was so excited. I tried the lavender honey and I didn't strain it out because I just thought it was so nice in there. So what I've decided to do is every night that I've been making my tea, I get a scoop of the honey with the lavender in it and I infuse it. So then it is also lavender is in the tea, but also with that sweet honey taste. Like I said, I really think that this that the honey is fine, even though it didn't turn out how infused honeys for me typically turn out. I have a theory on why it happened. Maybe because I harvested the flowers so late into the year, it wasn't as enough. It was a little drier than it typically would be, and so maybe that's why it didn't become more viscous. But I'm really excited about it. This year I'm going to make another lavender honey because this was the first time I ever infused lavender and honey, and I'm really excited to make it now. And I'm going to compare the two honeys and see if the same thing happens or what happens with that. I think I'm also going to do some baking with this lavender. I'm not a big baker, but I'm excited. And I will say, since I've been stirring the lavender honey every night the past few nights, it is becoming a little bit more viscous. It's not moving. I don't know if you can see, but it kind of is moving. It's moving more than it would have a week ago. So I'm excited to see what happens with that. If it keeps on bubbling and if the taste changes, I might stick it in the fridge. But as of right now, I really feel okay with this. I would love to figure out a way how to combine these two and store it together, so then I could just make a tea blend and just do one scoop instead of doing one scoop from here, one scoop from here. I don't know how I could do that. So at the moment, 2 separate containers. Boom, boom, pour my tea in, or pour the hot water in, and I've been drinking around a quart of it before bed. A little less if anybody else wants some too. So, yes. For my third preparation I'm going to talk about is something that I don't typically think about for this time of the year. It's May. And I made a garlicoxymel, which is sliced garlic infused in honey and apple cider vinegar. And I put the honey and apple cider vinegar in the same container. I have this wax paper just because I don't trust the lid and because of the vinegar in here. So the reason I've made this before, but I usually like to make this preparation in the fall and winter. But the reason why I was drawn to making this is because in my house, a few people are feeling a little bit under the weather right now, and I thought, well, what would be a really easy, yummy way to prevent my a cold and flu coming through the house? And I thought of garlic because that is usually my go-to whenever I feel like I'm getting sick. I really love garlic for this. But recently, garlic hasn't really been agreeing with me recently. It's just so, I love garlic, trust me, but I feel like my body's kind of rejecting it at the moment. It's just the heat from it bothers me, and I feel like it's really drying me out. So I wanted to figure out a way that I could get garlic into me, and a good amount of it, but not have to deal with the uncomfortable side effects or effects of it. So so I decided to infuse it in honey and apple cider vinegar, because it'll really take that, it'll cut the heat and makes it a lot easier to take. And I've just been loving honey recently. Maybe it's because I'm trying to give up sugar, and so it's a nice way to have a sweet treat without having some refined sugar. So and also the honey will help with a little bit of a moistening quality, which I can always appreciate because I run super dry. So I made this 2 days ago, so you can see possibly that there's still a little blue and green in there. Even last night, I snagged a few pieces. Even just after a day, it is easier for me to eat, and the heat doesn't really bother me. So I'm really excited. How I usually like to take my garlic oxymel, I don't usually strain it and take it as a shot or just have the liquid. I just like to eat the garlic and then use the honey and the vinegar and cooking, or maybe just taking a little spoonful of it. But yeah, I don't usually wait until it's done infusing. After a few days, I just start eating it, and then I let it sit, and it's usually gone by the time it would be time to strain it out anyway, and then I could just make a new one. So I'm really excited about this because I'm going out of town next week. And so it's such a small jar. I'm either just going to bring this with me or put it in another little jar and have it with me at my hotel. And it'll be a nice way to get some garlic into me while I'm traveling, because I'm sure I'll be eating out most of the time. So, and also I'll be around so many people on a train and out and about in a city. And so it'll be a nice way to hopefully help ward off the cold and flu, while also getting all of the other great benefits of not only the garlic, but the honey and apple cider vinegar as well. Good. So I am really excited about all of these preparations right now. And I hope that that you enjoyed this. So thank you so much, and cheers.